Shabbat Shalom everyone, and welcome to Everyday Jew, your fun and flirty guide to Judaism in 10 minutes or less. So it's been a while since I've seen you guys, so first of all, Happy New Year's to everyone. And as I had said on Twitter, I recently went home for a Bat Mitzvah. It's actually the last Bat Mitzvah on both sides of my family for all of my cousins. That's kind of making me feel old. And a lot of people who aren't Jewish, and when I said that I was starting this channel, the one big question I got is, what the hell is a bar or bat mitzvah? So for you guys today, I have decided to do the ABCs of breaking down a bar or bat mitzvah. Now, in addition to this video, if you guys want to check out on my main channel, I actually just uploaded this video that I did for my cousin Shirley, whose bat mitzvah it was. I kind of did this music-esque video kind of showing you guys how we celebrate a bar or bat mitzvah. I didn't do any footage inside of the temple because I didn't do footage inside the temple. So if you guys want to check that out, there's not only going to be a link to it on the screen somewhere, but somewhere in the description box as well. So first let's break down what bar or bat means. Bar means son in Hebrew, and bat means daughter. So if you are a boy, you have a bar mitzvah, and if you are a girl, you have a bat mitzvah. And the term technically means either son or daughter of the commandments. So what it means is that you are of legal age in the Torah's respect, meaning that you are adult in the eyes of the temple when you are able to be called up to the Torah, meaning you can technically lead temple and services if you really needed to. So that's all that bar or bat mitzvah means. It means son or daughter of the Torah or the commandments. That's the literal translation. Now let's break it down in the ABCs to show you guys all the little parts that come into what it means to have a bar or bat mitzvah. A stands for aliyah, and aliyah is a blessing over the Torah, and usually when you are bar or bat mitzvah, the people who are called up are usually grandparents, aunts or uncles, siblings who have been bar or bat mitzvahed, your parents, respectable Jewish elders in your family. They are called up for the aliyahs over the Torah before you actually do your Torah portion. And B is actually for bar or bat mitzvah, which I explained to you guys means son and or daughter of the commandment. Now C is for two things. One is for challah, which you actually will be doing a blessing over before you start your party usually, and it's called the motzis, which is the blessing over food and wine. And C also stands for candle lighting ceremonies. Now, candle lighting ceremonies are one of those things that are very unique to every individual bar and or bat mitzvah. With my bat mitzvah, I had 13 candles, and I did it during my luncheon after the temple ceremony, where I called up 13 sets of individuals essentially to represent my friends and family and to kind of thank them in my journey into becoming a bat mitzvah. D is for dancing. Now usually with a bar and bat mitzvah there's some kind of party and or celebration. Some people do it in the afternoon, some people do it at night, and that is where the dancing happens, including the hora, which is where everyone does the circle dances that you've seen, and that's where people get lifted up in the chair. And I'm gonna throw a clip of my uncle getting lifted up because this happened at my cousin's bat mitzvah, and it was probably one of the funniest moments of the entire thing because my Uncle Howard just owns it. So props to you, Uncle Howard. So props to you, Uncle Howard, for doing the hora and owning it like a boss. E is actually for Exodus. Now, this can change for every bar or bat mitzvah, but Exodus was actually the passage in the Torah that my cousin Shirley is Torah portion from. F is for family and friends, and these are the people that you surround yourself with during your bar bat mitzvah. And for me, especially because I live so far away from my family, it was really nice to go home and see some of my cousins. I have a lot of cousins who are from Montreal and from Toronto, so it was great to see all of them. It was great to see all of my cousins who I grew up with as well. There are, I think, 14 of us or some crazy number like that. So it was really nice to just be around my family for the first time, I think for me, since my sister's wedding. So it's a great time to just have this restoration of family as well as faith. So that's what F stands for, is family, faith, and friends. G is for gifts. It's a celebration, you usually get gifts. A cool fact is if you want to give monetary numbers, if you actually do it in multiples of 16, it's like a Jewish good luck number. So there's a fun little fact if you ever wanted to do that. H is for Haftarah. Now I had mentioned this earlier when I talked about aliyahs and your Torah portion, but your Haftarah is the actual portion that you are reading from the Torah as you are called up as a bar or bat mitzvah for the first time as an adult in the Jewish eyes. So the actual passage that you read in the Torah is called your Haftarah. I is for Israel, which is the state of Israel, obviously. J is for Jewish, because if you're having a bar or bat mitzvah, you're Jewish. K is for two things. The first is a kippah. A kippah is a head covering that you wear inside of the temple. Both men and women can wear them. Women usually have these beautiful ornate ones. Sometimes they're called desert roses. I don't know. I've seen some of them look stunning. But what's really cool is that sometimes if you go to a bar bat mitzvah, they will actually have customized kippahs. So this one, I took one from Shirley's bat mitzvah because then I have an extra kippah just in case. And it has her name and the date that she was bat mitzvahed, and it actually has a little place for you to put a clip in so that you can properly attach the kippah to the crown of your head to cover your head. And the other thing that K stands for is Kiddush cup, and a Kiddush cup is something that with the challah you do the motzies and the blessings over the food and the wine, and a Kiddush cup is what you actually put your wine in, and some temples will actually give that to their mitzvah students as a gift for completing their bar or bat mitzvah. L is for l'chaim, which is something that you will probably hear a lot at a bar or bat mitzvah, which l'chaim means to life. If you've ever seen or heard Fiddler on the Roof, it means to life. It's what you raise your glass in, you say l'chaim. It's another thing like saying mazel tov, which means congratulations. So you drink to life, you drink to congrats, which actually turns into M, which is mazel tov, which means congratulations in Hebrew. N is for nash, which is technically a Yiddish word for eating. O is for obligation. Now the point of a bar bat mitzvah is to become an adult in the eyes of the Jewish people and in the eyes of the temple. So you are taking on an obligation of being responsible, and it definitely helps you learn a lot of responsibility while you are practicing and learning for your bar bat mitzvah. Now P stands for Parsha, which is the portion of the Torah from which you read each week. So your Parsha is where your Haftarah comes from. Q is for quotes. Now, usually you will do a speech not only at the temple, kind of thanking your rabbi and your cantor, but usually also thanking your parents and your friends for coming and family. And a lot of times you'll quote people in them. For example, my cousin Shirley actually quoted Stan Lee and Spider-Man in hers. She actually used the quote, "With great power comes great responsibility." Quotes are a great thing that you can include in your bar or bat mitzvah speeches. Now R is for the rabbi. As I said, the rabbi is the person who is leading the temple services. S is for Shabbat. Now Shabbat, as I have told you guys before, is the holy day. It is the Sabbath, and most bar or bat mitzvahs are on Shabbat. Some are during the middle of the week though. It happens. Some people do it that way. But the majority of ones, especially in my family, have all been on Shabbat. Now, T is for talis. Now, a talis is a traditional covering that you wear when you are covering your shoulders, essentially, in the Jewish temple. Some talises are plain, some talises are highly decorated, and it's one of those things that you can also pass down. Every talis has their story, essentially, and it has the little strings at the bottom, which are called tzitzits. But I will get into a talis and more garb of the temple into another video later on this year. U is for understanding. The point of learning what your bar bat mitzvah haftarah is to also learn the understanding and the meaning behind it, as well as the morals. So you learn a lot about what it means, not only in the regards to the Torah, but also learning what it means in regards to yourself. So that's a big thing, and it helps you kind of grow up, and it's one of those like really moving moments that you don't realize until later on, where you're just like, wow, the teachings of the Torah and maybe the Bible and things like that, the words might not be as we speak now, and sometimes they are misconstrued completely, but deep down inside there are meanings that we can take from these religious teachings that can help us to grow and understand more about each other and ourselves. V is for vowels. Now, as I taught you guys earlier on in one of my first videos on Everyday Jew, there is a set of vowels for the Jewish alphabet, but inside of the Torah, there are actually no vowels. Think about it this way, try and read any book or any sentence without any vowels. It's really difficult. So you have to learn to read essentially without vowels, but still remember what the vowel sound is and pronounce it as if the vowel was still there, essentially. Now X is for 10. Now, I made the joke originally that 10 is probably the average number of bar or bat mitzvahs a person can go to in their entire lifetime, but that's not technically true. It sometimes is true, it sometimes is more or less. But for this example, 10, or X, is the number of candles that my cousin decided to do for her candle lighting ceremony. So the next letter of the alphabet is Y, which is for Yad. Now a Yad is essentially the pointer that you use to touch the Torah with while you are reading, so you're not technically touching the Torah. It keeps it kosher. So Y stands for Yad, which is the pointer that you use to follow along with your place, so you can keep the Torah kosher without touching it, apparently. I don't remember the whole thing, but I just remember that the Yad is the pointer, and it looks like this. And lastly, Z stands for Zaidi, and Zaidi is usually a grandfather or a great-grandfather. It's kind of like a nickname that you usually give to the like eldest male in your family, essentially. And my cousin Shirley was the last of my Zaidi Louie, so I think he was my Papa Irving's dad, so he was my great-grandfather. So this is now the last of his great-grandchildren who have been bar bat mitzvah. So Zaidi just kind of means grandfather or great-grandfather or papa or something like that. So there you guys have it, the alphabet breaking down the ABCs of a bar or bat mitzvah. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Maybe I will actually do a video breaking down what the physical ceremony may or may not look like and all of that parts in a future video coming up for you guys. But I hope this gives you a little bit more understanding of what exactly a bar or bat mitzvah is and why we do some of the stuff we do. As I said before, you guys can check out on the main channel the video I did of the party from Shirley's bat mitzvah. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give this video a nice big thumbs up if you learned anything. Hit subscribe so you're up to date with every video that I upload on this channel for Everyday Jew. There's links to all of my social media for both Everyday Jew and my personal stuff in the description bar below. And if you guys have any other questions, hit them down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2 Shabbats. Bye!